Greetings, brothers. Today we're going to be unboxing and talking about Pariah Nexus, the new expansion for Kill Team. But let's be honest, we've bought it for the Heavy Intercessors. That's the only reason that we have this box. So let's dive in and just see if they are worth it. Okay, so Kill Team Pariah Nexus, let's get into it. As I said, we're really just here for Heavy Intercessors. I mean, it's quite a big box. You know what? It's not as sturdy a box as Indomitus. Oh, and we have some text. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, specially selected bands of elite combat operatives hunt each other through a twisting alien tomb. And I guess we've got... You will need a copy of the Kill Team core manual in order to use this box, because apparently 90 something pounds wasn't enough, and it's for 2 players. And I guess what you get in the box is, well, do you know what, we're not going to read what you get in the box, we're just going to show you. So let's get into it. It doesn't have a lift off lid, so that's a bit different from these other ones. I mean, it's a cool looking box, and here we go then. I'll put that over there. Right. And make sure we're not blocking the light. So, I guess that's Necron. I don't know what that is. And I guess that's Necron. Train wise, we have what looks like 2 of these pieces of Necron bits. Now some of these look pretty cool, these little doors, I guess, and the little, I don't know what they are, they're like blocks, but I mean it doesn't seem like a whole heap. It's just like 4 doors, maybe like 10 little blocks, 10 little circular things, and then a few of these. So that's kind of quite a bit less than Indomitus. And then here's our captain, and I guess he is not quite easy to build, but he doesn't have that many unique pieces, it seems like. So he's our Primiris Chaplain with a master-crafted bolt rifle, I believe, and the power sword. He might be interesting as a Death Company character. We have a couple of other pieces of Necrons. I guess that's your Scarabs. So I guess the Necron Lord is actually, these 2 sprues are the same character. Okay, and then 1 sprue then of our Heavy Intercessors. And what do they have gun-wise? So, you know, just standard shoulder pads, I think, or those might actually be aggressor style shoulder pads. So annoyingly, yeah, I think they are aggressor shoulder pads with those little bits down there. So annoyingly, I guess, it won't be super easy to change them out for Blood Angels ones. They got the standard Gravis armor. We got 6 heads, but we only have 5 guys. So I guess there's like a variant on the head somewhere. Actually, there's more than 6 heads. There's about 10 heads on here. Well, I mean, yeah, there's like 10 heads, but there's 5 guys. I guess it's different variants on the helmets. And variants on the guns, I guess. We've got a couple of guys that are carrying them, and I guess we've got some sort of heavy gun as well. Alright, let's... So the sprue looks interesting enough. It's going to be a bit annoying that... it's not going to be easiest to convert to Blood Angels again, especially arms like this with the guns all baked into them. They're just an absolute nightmare if you want to convert them. So at least some of these guns are separate. So we have that. I'm not sure. I think this must be some sort of heavy bolter, or a heavy intercessor gun. And then we have a Kill Team. This thing's actually kind of warped a little bit. They always send these, but they're always monochrome. I almost feel like if they were going to send these and they put some colour into them, I could stick them up on a wall or something, but like the fact they're always monochrome is just average, because the one in Indomitus had big Blood Angels banners in it, right? It was monochrome, so it's like, didn't do anything with it. So there's new cards, a new book. You know, it's not hardcover, it's quite a thin book. And then I guess you've got your bases. At least we'll get into the bases, and then I guess you have the Kill Team board. Oh, and of course, as always, bloody Ultramarine transfer sheets. If anyone in the entire world still needs Ultramarine transfer sheets, like, you know, could they not just for once maybe switch it up and put in like different chapter transfer sheets? Because I think everybody now has about 15 million of these spare. Anyone that knows an Ultramarine player, just get, every time you see the Ultramarine player, you're like, hey, here's some more transfers. And then, I mean, this board is kind of cool and it's Necron-y looking. I'm not going to open it right now. If you want to see the board, I guess you can see it on the back of the picture here. And I guess it's built with these doors. It's a little bit like Space Hulk almost. And then these little boxes and stuff. So, I mean, if we compare it up to Indomitus, it's a lot less, I feel like. A lot less in terms of models, and I guess, you know, yeah, probably like a third of the models, because Indomitus we got about 60 models, right? I think it was as many as that. I think it was about 27 Marines. I'm going to splice this with Indomitus footage afterwards so you can see the difference, but yeah, so we just get the 6 Marines. And it really is just one sprue of Marines. I guess I'm going to put these guys in there. So, I mean, like, you'd expect to pay $30 for one of these sprues, maybe 35 if you just go to Games Workshop itself. So I generally use the resellers because I like 20% off, and if you do use Element Games in the UK, then you get even more money off with Element Games, and you can also support the channel. But from buying in there, like I always have a link in the video description, so like one of these costs like, probably from Element Games, let's say $30, and then your character, it's kind of just an average character, there's nothing super exciting about him, so you'd be like maybe $20 for the character. So I guess if you talk about that being $50, then they did say at the time Indomitus was really good value, and I guess that is kind of true because, but if you just buy this for the $95 and you get this, and you get the 2 Necron sprues, and then you get, I guess, like a bit of Necron terrain, compared to Indomitus, it does feel a lot more expensive, I guess. Or it does feel like you get a lot less. I feel like it's still not bad value, right? Like if you bought this, it's £95 on Games Workshop. Like you go to the reseller, I think I paid 76 for this, so you literally get almost 20% off. So you pay 76 and then you split it with your friend as I did, so basically I'm paying 37 for the Heavy Intercessors and the Captain. So if we talk about that probably costing 50, then it's actually not a bad deal. I'm not actually worried about the board or the book or any of these things. I don't really play Kill Team too much right now. I do have Kill Team, the original, you know, the book and the rules. But I think we'll take some of these terrain pieces and we'll add them to our collection of terrain for our board. And also I think what we'll do is we'll make the Heavy Intercessors. Oh, instructions. Where are the instructions? I didn't see instructions. But I feel like I will need instructions. I guess they must be in with the book, so I guess we're opening the book. Ah, instructions at the back here. Okay, well I guess we can have a look inside the book as well. 1 second. Let me peel off the cellophane. So, instructions, and then, oh, the Kill Team books are nice. I think I'm just a sucker for orange because my favourite soccer team is orange. So, I guess maybe there's some new rules for the Kill Team. Deathwatch Kill Teams, Adeptus Astartes. Alright, there's probably going to be some new, I guess they're basically stratagems for Kill Team, but they're a little bit less, right? So, and then I guess there's supposed to be some data sheets maybe for the new... So here's your new Primiris Captain data sheet. Captain and Phobos armor. Okay, so I guess the Captain and Phobos armor has been added to Kill Team. Captain and Terminator armor. Alright, I didn't realise we get Terminators in Kill Team now. That's pretty cool. Lieutenant and Reaver armor. We can have the Primiris Lieutenant. a Lieutenant in Full Buffs armor, a Primiris Chaplain, a Chaplain in Terminator armor, the Judicar. Alright, so the kill team roster has expanded a lot since I played. When I played, I think you just got Tactical Marines, Intercessors and Reavers. We also have Librarians in Terminator armor, and then we have a Watchmaster. I'm not actually sure what a Watchmaster is. Who is the Watchmaster? He's armed with a Vigil Spear. Alright, so we're getting... I mean, he's buried in between all the Space Marine rules. So, I mean, I guess a Watchmaster? I need to look up what the Watchmaster... Oh, he's Death Watch. Okay, of course. And then the Intercessors, the Assault Intercessors, the Tactical Marines. Maybe there were Scouts when I played as well. Infiltrators and Cursors, Reavers, Eliminators, Sternguard Veterans, Suppressors, Terminators, Vanguard Veterans. You know what? The kill team roster is big now. Blade Guard Veterans, Company Veterans, Heavy Intercessors, and then all the rules to go with the guns and the shooting. So wow, if you want to take your Space Marines into kill team now, you have a lot of options from when this was first released. So this actually sounds kind of cool, and I guess you've even got psychic powers here, which are kind of a play on the Space Marine psychic powers. So yeah, you know, I don't think it's a super bad value set, but I do think if you're going to compare this straight up against Indomitus, then you're going to feel like you got a lot less for your money. And yeah, it's actually not that many Necrons as well, because you just get this one character and then this sort of one little half sprue of the, I think they're called Scarabs. I don't play Necrons, I don't really ever intend to, but yeah, it's not that much. So I guess I can see why people are upset about the price tag on it, but I mean, I suppose it is a full expansion. You do get the terrain, you do get 6 characters, and I guess you get the books and the board and stuff, so maybe it's like 10 or 15 bucks more expensive, but if you actually break it down and share it with a friend, then it's not too bad at all. So, alright, what we're going to do now is, I actually have some archive footage from about, probably a few months ago now, where I unboxed Indomitus, and I never quite got through that footage, and I also used the Indomitus to create Primiris Chaplain on a bike conversion. So we're going to just dive into that, and I guess you'll be able to see the difference in how many models were in both boxes, and then you'll also be able to see what I managed to create. I don't really think there's many conversion options with this, but that's okay. You know, there doesn't always have to be conversion options, and we just wanted these for the Heavy Intercessors to basically give us another troop choice in 9th edition of 40k. So that's why I bought these guys, and you know, they are getting released in May, so I guess I'll do another video where I'm building them, you guys can see them, and then I guess you can decide if you are wanting to buy them. And you know what, someone actually asked me about, can you paint some models on your channel in actually Mephiston Red? So I think probably what we'll do is we'll actually maybe we'll do a how to paint, or how I paint Blood Angels battle ready models, and we'll use some of these guys because I do want to paint them, and then that way that'll be another video, and also it'll show everybody the exact process I use to get through my reds. Okay, so that's it, let's jump into the Indomitus unboxing. Welcome Battle Brothers, I'm John, the Blood Angels Commander. In this hobby video we're going to be diving into the Indomitus box, and we're going to be looking at what conversions we can do, because I don't feel everything is going to be super useful for where I stand with Blood Angels. So without any further chat, let's get right into the box. Okay, so let's get into this. And for the record, I do not care at all about the Necrons that come in this box. I'm most likely going to try and trade them for any sort of Space Marine parts. I think I might have someone that's willing to do me a full trade, so like get rid of all the Necrons in this box and get a double on all the Space Marine parts, and if possible, that is 100% what I will do. As I said, I'm 100% focused on the Blood Angels here. So, Right. Oh, that's already damaged. Lovely. I guess it is a double-sided sort of Space Marines. Oh look, this is actually Blood Angels tapestry right here. So, I mean, I guess that's cool. Maybe I'll use it as a backdrop for one of the other videos that I do. That's a little annoying, it's damaged, but I guess we can live with it. So, we've got 3 Outriders. I've already been working on building some Outriders. Not super... I guess I'm not super excited by these guys. Let me change the lighting in here. 1 second. Maybe that'll, yeah, those are a little bit consistent. There's a horrible shadow there. Okay, so we've got Outriders. 3 of them. The bikes though are probably going to be the thing of most interest to me. Just checking them, it doesn't look like the legs are attached in any way to part of... Oh no, some of the legs are attached. Yuck. Okay, so if we're going to do a conversion of them, it'll be tricky because they obviously have those standard Primiris legs. But maybe we can convert 2 of them. I don't know what I'd do with a 3rd one at that point. This looks like the new captain. Yep, because he's got this weird skull thing that attaches to his sort of unique storm shield, and he holds the storm shield at the top. A little bit annoying. If he held it on an arm pose, we could use that for a conversion, but I guess we'll see. We have the lieutenant with the storm shield. I've done a video on this guy before. I actually got one of these earlier. Really cool model and really powerful on the battlefield. I'm just going to put Necron things to the side. Your 2 sprues of Assault Intercessors. So I'm going to make 5 of these as Death Company for sure, just so I've got the option to put them in Impulsor. Maybe even do 6 actually, because that would fill the Impulsor. And then the last 2 I'll put like Power Fists on them or something, so that I've got weapon options. More Necrons. I mean, the Necrons do look cool. Some nice sprues and quite a lot of them, but yeah, not that interesting to me. And then 3 Blade Guard, 3 Eradicators, so definitely going to be making these guys, probably both. This Chaplain, he has his leg, I wonder if we could take the top of the Chaplain body off and use that to get him onto a Chaplain on a bike, because I don't fancy buying that model for 30 quid. I mean, it is a nice model, but I wonder if there's a conversion we can make. I have plenty of Chaplains, and I don't think the Primiris Chaplain, just the regular one, is that exciting, so that's maybe one of the conversions that we're going to go for. And then I think we just have another one of these art pieces, and then I guess the rules that will be outdated by now, the transfers, various squad markings, and obviously a decent amount of Blood Angel stuff here. Annoyingly, they don't have the thing that I was using on the Assault Intercessor's knees, but I guess we can figure that one out. But a decent sized transfer sheet. I have so many Ultramarine doubles that I could, if anyone wants any Ultramarine doubles, let me know, I can probably send you some. And then I guess in here we've got the rulebook, which is ginormous. I'm not sure it needs to be ginormous. A condensed rules is fine for me, and then bases, and oh, more bases. All right, I'm gonna have to figure out what bases go with what if I'm gonna trade the Necrons. That's going to be a little annoying. Okay, so let's tidy some of this up, separate the Necron stuff, and then see what we're going to start doing conversions with. Okay, so I want to tell you about this conversion for the Indomitus Chaplain that you can see here. So this is actually an Outrider up to the waist, and then Indomitus Chaplain from waist up, and then like some Blood Angel's shoulder pads, and a Blood Angel's Crozius, and the book of the Chaplain, or the book from the back of the Chaplain, is on top of the bike. So that is the process, or that is the model that we came up with. So here we are with an overhead view of the Outrider, and this footage is speeded up a bit, but people have asked a few times if I still do kit bashing. I guess this channel started with me just doing kit bashing, and we've kind of evolved to do a bit more tactics and stuff. But I mean, I do love kit bashing. It's one of the things that I find the most fun in the hobby, and I think it lets you add a bit of personality to your army, right? So what I started to do here was I basically got 2.5 boxes of Indomitus. You know, I bought one, I traded one, so that had me 2 copies of the Marine set, and then one of my friends actually got a 3rd copy and gave me some bits out of it. So I actually had 9 Outriders, and I certainly don't need 9 Outriders. So I've made 6, and I decided what I was going to do was convert 2 of them, one into a Primiris Chaplain on a bike, because it is a great new model, and I actually converted one into a Primiris Captain on a bike. Now, you can't really feel the Primiris Captain on a bike yet, but because the Chaplain got made Legends last edition, I kind of felt like it's only a matter of time maybe before they retire the regular Captain on the bike. And honestly, I'm quite excited about getting a Primiris Captain on a bike, because the regular Captain on a bike is super strong for us right now. He is one of my go-to characters with the gift of foresight. He's absolutely amazing. He's so survivable, and he does so much damage over the course of the game with a Thunderhammer and Infernal Pistol. So I've done a really cool Captain on a bike. So, but this conversion is my Chaplain on a bike. So I didn't want to spend like 29 bucks for the Primiris Chaplain on a bike. So I decided I was going to try and make it from a couple of Outriders and the Chaplain out of Indomitus. And I guess if you have an Indomitus box and you don't need an Outrider, or you don't need a Chaplain, you could do this yourself. And I guess if you wanted to pick up some of them on eBay as well, you could totally do this yourself. And then you just need a little bit of extra models for a bit of flavour. So there's certain limitations you have to deal with, right? Because like with this model, the legs were like baked onto the sprue, or they're part of the sides of the bike. So it's kind of stuck with the legs. Like I have to use the legs on the Outrider. I don't know if I would even have another set of Primiris legs that would fit and straddle across the bike. So I guess that what that meant was up into essentially his midriff, he'll just be an Outrider. So you can see here I took off the Chaplain off the sprue, and I'm kind of like just investigating it. And the first thing I did notice was he does have that book on the back. And I actually took off his arm here as well, because I think my plan originally was to just use this arm maybe on the Outrider. So sometimes when you're doing kit bashing, especially when you're kit bashing these models, which are kind of like easy to build, you know, they don't have a lot of different parts. You're gonna have to hack parts apart to make it work. So I guess I started by taking off the arm and seeing if that arm would fit nicely to essentially. I'm lying here when I said it's up to the base. It's up to the waist, but he also has the back part of the Outrider. So I noticed, like I said, that book looked pretty nice. So we decided to take off the leg and kind of hold on to the book. And for the front, I wanted to get that Chaplain front piece on, because it's got like, I guess, a bigger Aquila, and it just looks a bit more exciting than I guess a regular Outrider's chest piece would do. So took off the book and cleaned the book up. And I mean, putting the book on the top there on the bike is pretty much what they did with the actual official model. So I guess I took a bit of inspiration from the official model for that. So, and yeah, like I really wanted to get a better front piece on, and I actually had some of spare aggressor pieces here, so you can see me like basically chopping some of those aggressor pieces apart to see if like we could get an aggressor chest piece to fit. And like, I mean, sometimes when you're doing conversions like this, you just sort of have to go for it. So I tried to make the aggressor piece fit, but the aggressor piece is actually really bulky, and I mean it did, you know, with enough clipping and enough filing off, it did actually fit. But I think I'm pretty sure when I tried to put it together, I didn't
I really didn't like the fit, and we decided to put on the Chaplain front piece onto this guy, and the Chaplain front piece again wasn't made for this, so it ended up leaving like quite a lot of a gap. And so basically, like, I used a ton of green stuff, and I guess when you're doing these conversions, like, test fit everything, right? Because like you're gonna have to go back and forth, you're gonna have to shave off bits of the model. So you can see here that like I haven't hardly glued anything together. I'm just testing and testing and testing, because you don't want to get to a point where you're like stuck and then just something doesn't fit, and generally it looks quite bad. And yeah, so we went back to that Chaplain and we took his chest piece, and I guess he's holding out a gun on his left arm. So I decided to take that gun off his left arm, and we're going to use the actual left arm that's attached to the handlebars. So he still will have one hand on the handlebar, and meanwhile, I guess like this is the Chaplain legs. So like I'm snipping basically the legs off, and we're going to use the front of the chest piece from the Chaplain, and we're going to attach it to the back of the chest piece from the Outrider. And then we're going to have like a horrible gap underneath, but we're going to fill all that with green stuff. And we took off that gun arm, as much as I actually thought the gun arm was pretty cool and I liked the gun. We took off the arm because I kind of want him holding the handlebars with one hand. He does have a pistol, the Primiris Chaplain, on a bike, but I mean, quite often I forget to fire that pistol. I need to remember that the Primiris Chaplain on a bike has a pistol. I think it's an Absorber bolt pistol, and I think it is minus 1 and potentially 2 damage, or minus 1 damage. I mean, it's not the most terrible bolt pistol in the world. So yeah, I need to actually remember he's got that, because I don't really have it anywhere on the model. Maybe he's got a pouch on his leg or something where you can pretend that he had a pistol in. But yeah, you can see when I'm fitting that, there's going to be a pretty horrible gap underneath the chest piece. So I got a little bit, I think, off the model's legs, basically where I'd cut it off, and I tried to basically see if this is, it's pretty hacky here, where we've got like 3 bits that definitely don't fit together. So I use my knife a lot, and I believe I use sandpaper sometimes to try and get these 3 bits to fit together, and we just keep clipping and keep making small incisions, I guess, so like we're working up towards a finished product. And you can see here now, it's not perfect, but I do sort of have the workings of a chest piece there. There's going to be some gaps, but I'm okay with some gaps because we can fill them with like liquid green stuff, and when it hardens you probably won't even know that there was a gap there. So I went ahead and put this chest piece together, and yeah, I mean, it actually looks not bad. Like I could probably pass. It could probably pass straight away. Because I guess where the handlebars and that, it would obscure some of it. But no, I went and got my liquid green stuff, and this liquid green stuff is super old, so it's actually kind of solidified a little bit. And basically we pushed it into all those gaps on the bottom of the chest piece so that we could basically like have no holes in the model's body. And like you can, if it's more liquidy, you can just sort of paint it in, because mine's sort of gone. It's almost like a sticky tack like consistency, right? So like it will mold, and it will, and if you put a little bit of water into it, you can basically almost like, it's almost like a bit of paint, so it just solidify down. And yeah, so I got a chest piece that I was happy with, and then yeah, like I said, we used the sandpaper to just sand off any of the excess mess. And then, so what we have here is the back of an Outrider attached to the front of a half of the body of the Primiris Chaplain. And yeah, I mean, like at that point you can stick him in, and it looks not bad, right? So basically, like, these are, so if you ever did pick up like a half set of Indomitus pretty cheap off eBay or something, then this is an option you can totally do. So then I go ahead and make this, like, then at that point it may as well stick his legs on. And with these bikes, I think I kept making the same mistake with these, in that like you can honestly get kind of stuck with the bikes, in that certain sides only go with certain bikes, and I guess I didn't read the instructions, so I ended up just clipping off some of the side panels and just sticking them on as best I could. You can see me clipping off some of the connections here, but I mean, it's just because I probably didn't read the right instructions, and also I was just trying to get, yeah, and you can see there's a horrible gap at the top there, which we hopefully fill reasonably well. I mean, we can obscure some of that with the book that we're going to put on the top of them as well. So, you know, like, I actually try and separate it a little bit and get like a bit of glue and I think green stuff in there as well. Oh yeah, that's it. You have to put the handlebars in first before you stick on those edge bits, but we didn't do that, so we just hack and then we just slap a bit of glue into the seam, and that poly cement is great. It'll melt down the model and it'll essentially, you know, sort that out for us. So at that point we kind of have our guy on our bike and he has one hand holding the handlebars, which again, so that's the outrider part of him. So at this point he's pretty much a complete outrider, except he has a different chest piece. So I mean, that took a lot of work just to change out the chest piece, but I mean, I think it was worth it. It looks pretty cool in the final model. Obviously I'll show you that again at the end. He isn't finished painting, so I kind of wanted to have this video finished you know, now, because I put the Heavy Intercessor stuff in, but yeah, I was originally thinking I would wait until I'd finished painting the Primiris Chaplain on a bike, but you know what, I'll share Primiris Chaplain on a bike. I'll share a picture of him over on YouTube or the community tab at some point. So we put the book on top, like I mentioned, that was sort of inspiration from the actual official model, and then so I was going to just stick this arm on as is, and I mean, you could do that with this arm, and I guess we kind of go ahead and think about it, but I actually had an old... There he is. I had an old jump pack. What was it? Just a Blood Angels Chaplain, you know, the one that has the cool wings. So I took his Crozius off at the hand. Now, the thing about taking regular Firstborn Marines off at the hand is that the arms for Primiris are a little bit bigger, so it can look a little bit janky, you know, like you have this big arm and then it goes down into this sort of like thinner hand, but you know, we essentially just went for it. And then sometimes when you're doing something very fiddly like this, and I have like a little drill you can see here, and sometimes it can be easier to just use a paper clip. And I guess that's what I'm doing here, basically using my snips to cut a tiny little bit of a paper clip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tiny little hole, try and find like a really fine drill bit, one of the smallest ones you can get. And I'm actually going to put a tiny little hole into the hand, and I'm going to put a tiny little hole into the arm. So when I glue it together, there'll be a bit of, basically it's called pinning, where there'll be a little bit of a paper clip stuck in between the joint, right? So like it just makes the joint quite a bit stronger. I've done this before, like Astaroth on his axe. Astaroth's axe used to break all the time, and you know, you had to glue it back time and time again. So it was actually my friend Kev that first showed me this, and what he did was he actually pinned Astaroth's axe for me. So like, I've had my Astaroth for years now and his axe is never rebroken. So I guess the fact is it just gives that joint a bit more strength. And you know, it's a great trick if you want to, like, if you're having problems with Dreadnought legs, for example, the Forge World Dreadnoughts, sometimes their legs can be notoriously difficult to stick together on those ball joints. So yeah, you can use a drill, you can just make a little incision, you can use something like a paper clip, and I just thought it would be nicer to finally get some use out of that Blood Angels Chaplain's Crozius that I've never really used. And I quite often run this guy with the Benediction of Fury. So at least this way it's kind of a cooler looking it's a cooler looking Crozius. So that was really my thought behind doing that. However, at that point I guess I felt like I'd butchered that arm too much and I just wasn't happy with it, and it wasn't going to quite attach. So I actually found like a pre-painted arm that I had before, just like a Primiris arm. And sometimes I don't know if I don't feel like the Games Workshop give us enough Primiris arms. I bought some infiltrators that had spare arms, and I had a kit of reavers that had spare arms, and I think this one actually came from the Primiris upgrade sprue, where it was just like the arm was just holding like a bolt gun. So I actually just use a bit of glue, poly cement here, but with the little pin in there, it just gives it a little bit more. And I guess for whatever reason, you know, it's such a delicate arm to get stuck on. I actually have problems. I might have gone to get super glue here. It's been a little while since I filmed this. Yeah, okay, so we went to get Gorilla Glue, and this is the glue I recommend. It's like a gel, and it generally sticks just about anything. I use it on the Forge World models, and yeah, so that, a little bit of Gorilla Glue on that pin joint. So, like, really, at this point, he's still, like, 90% of an Outrider, right? He's just got that one extra arm that is now being converted to have a Blood Angel's Crozius. He has the chest piece. So now the important part, I guess, is to... And then I guess he's got the book on top of him. So, I love the Death Company sprue. I use the Death Company sprue all the time. I actually bought another box of Firstborn Death Company just because I think that the shoulder pads we get with the Death Company sprue are amazing. If you compare them what you get in the Death Company Intercessor box, there's no comparison. So if you've got a little bit of spare money, I recommend getting yourself a hold of like just a Firstborn Death Company box. You get a lot of great things in that box, you know, little blemishes, great looking Death Company backpacks. You get infernal pistols, you get thunder hammers, and you can do all sorts of conversions with them. So I use them for both the shoulder pads here, I think, just to give him a little bit more customization, really. And then for his head, I actually went to eBay for the head and found a seller. You know, I think if you search eBay, you get a lot of people now doing 3D printed heads, and you can get them cheap, or you can get them expensive. And some people like to use Reaver heads. Like, I guess it's sad that Reavers aren't really used for much else except their heads, but yeah, some people like to buy or get a hold of Reaver heads, and that totally, like for a chaplain, I guess a Reaver head skull mask works really well. I was hoping to have a skull mask, but I just couldn't find one that I was happy with. So I ended up going to eBay and getting this sort of like crowned skull mask, which you saw in the photo earlier. So in this video, I actually put on a Reaver head, but I believe I popped it off and changed it before I glued it on, essentially. Yeah, so he does on that right hand side of him, he does have a pouch for a pistol, so I guess that's fine. And then, like, I don't remember where that, I think that skull thing came off, I think it came off the shield, maybe, of like the Blade Guard Ancient or something. Like, I really don't remember where that shield came from, or that bit, but yeah, I thought that we could basically improve his backpack as well, and basically give him what looks like an Iron Halo, essentially. I mean, it's not an Iron Halo, but I guess it kind of looks like it could be an Iron Halo. So doing that gives me sort of like an Iron Halo type blemish on his backpack. So I guess, yeah, something to say is with Kitbashes you can go as far or as little as you want, and this guy only really has like 3 or 4 different pieces on him, but I mean, I'm pretty happy with the finished product. There we go, we stuck a Blood Angel's knife just on the side there. I mean, again, that's a very easy Kitbash. I think that was maybe off like a Sanguinary Guard kit. They come with knives, so we just put a knife down there so it looks like you could just take his hand off the wheel, reach down, grab a knife, and I guess stab someone with it as he drives by. So yeah, I was trying to figure out as well, like, if wings would work on this guy, and like sometimes, you know, you can just collect various bits and you can try different bits. So I was trying to think if there's anything that I wanted to stick on front of the bike, and also I have a spare set of wings here. I think they're Sanguinary wings, and I really wondered if that would work. And the blue helmet is an easy to build Reaver helmet. and it's not the final helmet you see in the picture at the end. I actually popped that helmet off and used it on one of my other guys, and I did consider, you know, like, as I say, those are the Sanguinar wings. I did wonder if wings would add something to this guy, but in the end I decided not to go with the wings. I mean, I didn't think that they glued in particularly well. Like, I didn't have a great I didn't really have a great angle for the wings, so decided to just leave the wings. But we could have gone there with the wings, and also, yeah, I mean, some people stick the wings on the side of their bikes like this, and you know what, that would have been okay as well, but maybe I just thought it was a little bit too much. And then, yeah, I did put like an additional bit over the front tire, which is kind of like a mud guard, I guess, and it's actually the guard off a dreadnought arm. So on a bunch of different dreadnought arms you get these guards, and I put it over the front tire, and you can see really clearly here how that looks. So yeah, as I said, custom head, we made the Crozius. We sort of did that Iron Halo thing on the backpack. We gave him the extra knife. I guess we stuck some grenades on the side as well. But overall, I mean, a very simple conversion of an Outrider. But I mean, would you know it's an Outrider from looking at it? I guess he has a different backpack as well with some purity seals and stuff on it, right? But yeah, so it's an interesting conversion to come up with, and overall, like, I really still enjoy doing the conversions. As I say, this guy isn't quite finished painting, but I wanted to get this video up soon, so I'm sure you guys will see him painted and finished on the tabletop before too long. So thanks very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed both the Dark Pariah and the Indomitus unboxing. And I guess I can see why some people thought the Kill Team box was a little pricey. I mean, as I said, I think that if you managed to split this with somebody, then it wasn't too bad at all, right? You know, $37 for basically the 5 guys and the captain is actually kind of probably about what you would have to pay for them. So yeah, if you can find a Necron player to split it, and maybe some you guys want to split the terrain or the board or something like that, yeah, I mean, I think it's not bad. But I can see why some people were upset with it, and maybe it would have been nicer if it had been like $10-20 cheaper. Like, I don't think there's as much intricacy and detail in the terrain as there was in the level of models we got in Indomitus. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. As always, you've been watching the Blood Angels Commander channel. I hope to see you all in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this sort of off-the-cuff hobby unboxing and sort of random conversion video. And we'll see you all very, very soon. So, by the blood are we made, brothers. Peace.